Right. We're going to work some practice problems that you were given in class on selection statements. Right. The first problem says we want to write a program to find the largest of two numbers entered by the user. We're going to assume that the user enters the numbers correctly. Right. I've already got a code blocks project up here. I've copied the problem statement in as a set of comments. So write a program to find the largest of two numbers entered by the user. Well, there's our first clue, numbers entered by the user. We're going to have to get some input. Right. So what we can do is we always define variables. We'll have to store those. So let's just simply call them maybe num1 and num2. So I'm declaring them. Right. I don't need to initialize them. I'm going to read that information from the keyboard. That's how we know how to get information from the user at this point. So let's just prompt the user to say, enter number 1, or actually enter a number. And we're going to read that in with scanf since I declared that as an integer. All right, %d here, address of num1. Maybe I should say, enter the first number. Here we go. Maybe that's a little more descriptive. I'm going to copy paste, change this to enter the second number, num2. Well, this says assume that the user enters the numbers correctly. That means that we're going to assume that the user enters an integer number and that scanf doesn't fail. Right. So now that we've got these two numbers in the memory, right, we want to compare them. Because what's our purpose is find the largest of two numbers. We use then an if statement to do that. We want to compare the two numbers. So we say if num1 is greater than num2, right, well, the num1 must be the largest number. So we could print, right, we can say printf %d is the largest number. And we want to print out num1. Now we could say else, right? Because if num1 wasn't greater than num2, we might want to check to see if num2 is greater than num1. If num2 is greater than num1, all right, I'm just going to copy paste here and change this to num2. Then there's the case where if num1 wasn't greater than num2 and num2 wasn't greater than num1, else they must be equal, else num1 equals num2. We could simply print out a message that says %d equals %d and num1, num2. Right. So the way if statements work, right, keyword if, we have a test condition that goes inside parentheses. If this test condition is true, it's going to execute this code, right? When this is true, it will skip over, will execute this code. It will not execute this or will not execute this. Right? We call these branching statements. Right. When this is true, it'll take this branch and skip over this branch and this branch. Otherwise, when this condition is false, it doesn't execute this statement. It comes down here and performs this test. And if this test is true, then it will execute the statements inside this branch, which is this one printf here. And then it will skip over. It won't execute this statement. The only time the else statement gets executed is when all of the tests above have failed, right? When everything has been false. So let's just go ahead and build and run our program. So now it wants the first number, all right, 5 and 10, right? And we can see that 10 is the largest number. So num2 in this case was the largest number. Let's walk through this with the debugger. I'm going to run the cursor here before the first if statement. It's going to prompt me. Now I'm going to have to, once again, enter a 5 for num1, a 10 for num2. So notice now here, num1 has a value of 5, num2 has a value of 10. We would expect this statement to be false. So if I say next line, notice it completely skips over that. It performed that test, found that test to be false. Now if I say next line, this test should be true. Right, it's going to come in here, it's going to execute this printf, and notice then our flow of execution has gone all the way down here to the end of the program because it doesn't execute the statements in this branch when this particular branch is true. Right, so we see 10 is the largest number. Right, let's run a case there again where in this case we want num1 to be bigger than num2. We want to test to make sure that that part of our code works. So let's make num1 10, num2 5. And so now we're here ready to perform this test. This should be true and this statement should execute. So next line, sure enough that was true. Next line, this executes. Notice it skips over this and skips over this. It's ready to just execute the return 0 statement. Once again, 10 is the largest number, but because we put 10 inside num1. And if we do another run the cursor and make the 2 equal, first number 10, second number 10, so we're going to see that this test condition is false. Right? Next line, num1 was not greater than num2. We did not execute that statement. Next line, well, num2, this will be false. It will not be greater than num1. Only this branch then will be executed, this printf, saying that 10 equals 10, right? Simply because this was false and this was false. So remember, the else branch executes when every test condition above it has been false. So there's a good introduction to if statements.